never come back.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? Oh my. Look at us. We are styling and profiling in the dirt racing world today. Obviously, the week has been very, very interesting. Left, rights, all over the place. But one thing that has ultimately been sustained now that we get to the end of this whole Hudson O'Neal, SSI Motorsports, Ricky Thornton Jr. scenario, one thing that has reigned supreme is that once again, dirt racing proves itself to carry meritocracy. And this is going to be a word we're going to learn today because I feel like some people need to learn it. Everyone learns it at some point. Some people don't even know what it is. In some organizations out there, this thing don't exist at all. And obviously those organizations and well, let me get deep just a little bit. You know, the other day how I was explaining the political system of the racing world. At the top, you got your sponsors and your car owners and all that. And then, the fans is kind of like the worker class. This is the political system of the racing world. And then you got the drivers right below the rulers, which would be sponsors, car owners. Series would be mixed in there, but they kind of work on who supplies the funding. This is all funding down trickling effect. And then you have, and I kind of mentioned this in a way, you have between the ruling class and the worker class, the fans, the don't shoot the messenger deliverers down here. Now, see, some of these don't shoot the messenger deliverers, and some of these deliverers are great. Kenny Wallace is amazing. Dirt Tracker's awesome. Jeremy Elliott does a real good job in the dirt. Sprint Car Hub in Australia is probably, in my opinion, the best all around. I mean, he doesn't shy away from pulling triggers, and he does it right, So Sprint Car Hub's up there pretty dang good. But in this scenario, when I describe this trickle-down effect, and this is why me and Broke Joe have always called the sprint car or the dirt racing world a microcosm of the real world, because this is how it always operates. And in a way, how this dirt racing world operates is a microcosm to the racing world. And this dirt world is on its own, but other worlds are bigger. And we're all fighting to try to, it's almost like a Hunger Games scenario. You're out there trying to capture the attention of the world, because it's all monetarily. It's all monetarily based. It's all attention-based funding. All of it. And for instance, look at what happened with NASCAR and IndyCar in the 90s. I mean, NASCAR was kind of this regional, nobody cared scenario, fights in the infield. IndyCar has their issues. Dirt racing has a movie come to life, or NASCAR has a movie come to life, and then they take over the racing world. So you think about it, dirt racing to, today's world, I guess you could say NASCAR, that was almost like NASCAR to IndyCar racing in the 80s, in the early 80s, mid 80s. IndyCar was like going global in the 90s. They took Formula One's champion. Kart racing did. So no matter how small you think you could be, there's a trickle-down effect in this totem pole and worlds have learned to utilize other worlds. Now, there's some people, like I said, in between this racing, and we'll just put it in racing world because they're all kind of up there. You can say sponsors and track owners, streaming companies are big, but then when you go above them, there's up there in the dark occultists, way up high. Hold on just a second. Getting absolutely blowed up on Facebook, and I don't know why. Regardless, you have this situation where these message deliverers, and this is why, I say bought and paid for and all this stuff, is because they have certain motives on the message that they're delivering. And sometimes the fans, there are sectors. There's dirt fans, there's this fan, there's that fan, and then there's just general public. And sometimes there is an angle as to why you want to take a thing a certain way. And it usually has to do with that trickle down money effect from the ruling class of the entire scenario. That's usually how it works and operates. Usually. That's why people say, oh, just it's all about the money, collect a check, blah, 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 blah. But regardless, meritocracy and these other forms or fashions of racing are few and far between. I mean, we're talking about other industries and situations where it's about multi-million dollars just to run a year. You know, our interview we had with Rico Abreu, years ago, where he did a year in the truck series and quit racing for a year. I mean, he did fine. They liked him. He did decently well compared to other people that were in the same tryout scenario. And, in our interview that we did, he said, I just didn't want to put my family in a financial, decimate, for the 1 year. I believe his direct quote, was like, for the 1 year I could have done truck racing, I could have operated a sprint car for 7 or something like that. 3 to 7 years, something like that. But, so meritocracy is very hard to have exist in scenarios like that, where the driver just to rent it, just to be a rent-a-cart situation. It's that much money. So we are very lucky, and we should be very proud in this dirt racing world to have some form of meritocracy. And the reason we should be proud and happy of this is just, this is sort of the thing. And I hate to keep saying UFC to boxing. That's where I feel like we are in dirt racing to the other competitors of the scenario. I feel like we are this other form of combat sports or racing in the scenario. And, boxing at one point became a situation where it was a bunch of paper champions and people were hand selected and hand picked. And UFC came along and said, well, we got the best of the best and we just put them in there. And the more the public learned about the paper champion scenario, the hand picked people, the money, how it ran, everything. And then the more they started seeing this UFC thing, the more the public started going to the UFC scenario. Very interesting quote, just like Days of Thunder said, he went to, Cole Trickle went to NASCAR because you had to be Andretti or Unser to make it somewhere. So this same scenario that you see playing out in today's modern version of the kingpin of the racing world, where you have to be some kind of relation to some big, stock car star or something like that, helps you get up in there and all this stuff. That used to be the scenario prior to the NASCAR takeover of IndyCar racing as the major motorsport in America. And who better else knows that could happen to them than the ones who did it to someone else? If you treat somebody a certain way and you get certain things out of it, then you somewhat play, empathetic on that. You're like, okay, so I did this and that, and that's how I took them over. So you put up defense mechanisms and walls in a self-defense way so that doesn't happen to you in your industry. So that doesn't come back and afflict upon you. So it's a very interesting segmental way of how things operate. Now, meritocracy once again, it exists in every other sport. Professional sport, and this is why the paper champion deal is very interesting. I have a feeling that if people knew how much money it took to be some of these people in these upper echelons that are widely known and respected, that they would lose a bit of respect. And I've always had a problem, Michael Rigsby and Kenny Wallace had an interview about that where my name came up. It said Chaz is all, or Michael Rigsby said, this is where what Chaz says is right. My issue is I don't care what respect they kind of get. I just care about our dirt racers getting their respect because we, in my opinion, and based on the dollars and cents, meritocracy is higher in our category. So why is the respect factor not higher? If these people are doing some amazing things that, like I said, I don't care if a boxing and a UFC guy gets equal respect, but when one guy's off the map and one guy's put on the stage of the world, that's a whole nother scenario. But regardless, the reason it is such a big deal, this meritocracy word, is because it's what people are used to in professional levels of sport. Nobody just thinks that people can buy their way to the starting lineup of a football team or a basketball team, because there's no way for that to happen. You have to work your way up. You have to earn your way to the top. You have to defeat people on levels as you work your way up, and the best of the best equate and advance. And I understand that dirt racing is getting more expensive, and I understand that trickle down effects, because we see an example that I don't believe is successful that people are trying to emulate. The trickle down effects of, well, that's how we should be, are damaging long term, damaging trickle down effects to your product on the racetrack. Obviously, we have that example. That all you're left with at that point is drama based headlines, to have a good show, because once you show up and the green flag goes, you're bored. We don't have that issue, but you get too far down the line in a certain way of doing things, and you will get that way. We will get to that point. I saw somebody talking today about the rules in dirt late model racing. If they go to a spec car to spec this and a spec that, luckily we still have a dirt surface and very difficult race cars to drive, so it's going to be hard to just make everyone a cookie cutter. But regardless, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say here is that this sport has a really good future because of the product on the speedway and the meritocracy that it does hold. And it could be slipping away because of the cost, because it's hard for talent people to move up. Probably the best race car driver in the country is driving a street stock right now. We just don't know it because of the money factor. But luckily, in our sport, there are divisions of racing. There are things where you can work your way up and display dominance in certain sectors. There are still, regular people, and there's a decent amount of money compared to how much it costs to race. Of course, you just saw the video about the France family on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. The France family in NASCAR, one family destroying NASCAR, something like that. It's a really good video. Go look that up. And it's talking about how the NASCAR teams are losing money. I mean, obviously, all the time. I mean, because of the broadcast streaming revenues and all this stuff that they're trying to do. And this is why SHR, one of the ideas as to why SHR closed. So when we hear these notions about, dirt racing's too expensive, I mean, in elements it is. But when you look at the potential sponsorships you can acquire, when you look at the potential payouts that there is in comparison to the amount that it costs to run a year, you're talking about a fourth of the cost, third of the cost to even rent out a truck, according to Rico, to run a 410 sprint car team. A third of the cost. I think he said 3 to 4 years. So a quarter to a third of the cost of doing that. Just to rent it, not to own it, but to rent it. Regardless, we have this sport at a tipping point. I do think it is at a tipping point, depending on which messengers we listen to, because there are people that unfortunately want us to feel like we're not that damn good. They want us to feel like we may only like dirt because we're poor, or we don't like other things because we're poor or something. When we're paying, in comparison to the stock car world, we're paying $300 to Dirt Vision and $150 to Flow to watch our sport yearly, when this other stuff is on TV for free and we can barely stay awake and watch it. So, I mean, I'm just saying, but there are people out there who want us to feel like we're not that strong, like our product is not that great. Like it's the same thing that the world does to our self-images. They want us to feel bad. They want us to feel powerless. They don't want us to feel great, because when you feel good about yourself, you can make changes in not only yourself, but the world and society around you. It's called self-empowerment, and it's a very powerful tool that human beings have, but it is combated because of positions that other people are in that self-worth could potentially damage. So this situation with Ricky Thornton Jr., and this is why I've always tooted the horn, he is one of those guys representing this meritocracy-based plateau to where he's at today. And the reason I try to support a Ricky Thornton Jr. is I want to support future car owners and future investors of the sport that, hey, you don't just have to wait for somebody to rent your car out like the world seems to want to push right now. You can literally get a guy who's 25 or 20 or whatever. He doesn't have to be a young little boy or kid with millions of dollars coming out of nowhere. He can work his way to a position. You can acquire him and become a star within the industry. And the Ricky Thornton Jr. path to where he's at is a logical path. It gives hope and dreams to people that it can be a reality, that it's not just a Peter Pan fairy tale. that it's an actual reality of a truth of a situation that you can acquire. Because there's plenty of people I've met over the years, in dirt racing, they get to 18 or 19 or 20 and they feel like their whole entire racing career, no matter how good they are, since they didn't catch this break at 16 or didn't catch that break at 18 or 19 or 20, they feel like their entire career is just over. The young gun surge of the 90s that has taken and plagued the motorsports world has destroyed a lot of regular people's dreams because these cars are so damn expensive. You have to get out of high school and make enough money to even afford one. And for the Tom Brady talents who don't necessarily get born in, wealth or generational wealth, that have to go out and get a job to afford these race cars like an IMCA modified or a damn stock car at 18 or 20 or 22 to afford that crap. That's a lot of money. I mean, an IMCA stock car is $60,000 cash. This is not financed. And you need a truck. And you need some type of form. Even a damn flatbed's not cheap. These are all cash acquisitions outside the truck. You can finance that for $100,000. So there needs to be time periods in people to develop funding to be able to go out here and perform, to be able to race, to get recognition. Technically, I don't think a racing star should be considered a star until 27, 28, because at least at that point, you're guaranteeing everybody who wants to work really hard, which is what meritocracy is about, with a bunch of talent, with a bunch of skill, that's allowing that meritocracy to exist when you perceive the motorsport in that way. The other way of doing it leads down the path we get to see as wrong, correct? Everybody views that example as incorrect. It's not a successful example. So regardless, let's look at meritocracy. And once again, the ages are ranging, but I'm just saying, I mean, the sport ain't cheap just to even get started, so let's equate reality into the situation. So meritocracy, we got to get onto the situation of the show here. This is the definition to meritocracy. Some people don't know what it is, but it's something that you should be proud of, dirt racing world. Very proud. It is a system, organization, or society, which we're lucky to be close to this, in racing. This exists in football, basketball, every other sport where skill and talent is valued. A system, organization, or society in which people are chosen and moved into positions of success, power, influence on the basis of their demonstrated abilities and merit. Now, hopefully we don't have to look up what merit means. But this is how proper, free markets work. I don't believe we have capitalism without a free market. If you have a closed free market, then you ain't got capitalism. And the way the free market works is everybody having some form or fashion of an opportunity to succeed. And if you do better than everyone else, you advance. This is how high school, college, basketball, all these other things work and operate. So meritocracy, it's very important. Maybe we can go ahead and click merit. Some people may need merit. A praiseworthy quality, character, conduct deserving reward, honor, esteem. A person's qualities, actions regarding as indicating what the person deserves to receive, or a reward or punishment or punishment due. Sorry, we're tripping all over ourselves. We should have just stopped at a meritocracy. I think everybody kind of has an idea of what merit is. But the system of meritocracy is what's needed for racing to garnish true respect. If you ain't got this, you kind of just have like a falsity. You have a paper champion scenario that can be exposed with proper information to the general public to understand the lack of meritocracy that your sport has. Anyway, this is the news that came out with Ricky Thornton Jr., which this is a big deal. I hope people understand how big of a deal this is for the meritocracy of the sport. Ricky Thornton Jr. joins forces with Kohler Motorsports, set to make the debut with the team this Thursday at 34 Raceway. Of course, this is all praising. Coolest thing about this is brought sponsors. Obviously, these sponsors need praise for sustaining meritocracy in this motorsport. Hoker Trucking, Coltman Farms, Longhorn Chassis, and Bilstein Shocks, along with several others, of the current sponsors that the team has, but obviously Holker Trucking, Coltman Farms, Longhorn Chassis being very influential. I'm sure a lot of people were talking about Ricky Thornton potentially going to the chassis and stuff. Longhorn and Steve Arpin definitely made the right move in keeping him in-house in this scenario. And he's going to be teaming up with Jimmy Owens. You know, Jimmy Owens, one of those guys, racing legend. I don't even like to call it dirt racing legend because, you know, a guy like Jimmy Owens has done things in higher competitive fields, which once again, I believe dirt racing is the highest level of competition in the world. Dirt late model racing is probably number one in the world. And when I say in the world, above F1, above all of these other things, just because based on the number of people in the field and the meritocracy and cost we're talking about. So you're able to have a lot of competitors who have had to cut their teeth to get there. And I believe Jimmy Owens did it very rough time of the sport. Where you had to win, you had to be a killer on the track to get it done, you know, to make some money. We're paying a little bit better today, and obviously there's killers of the mind in the pit area, you know, trying to figure out all these trick setups. But Jimmy Owens, almost kind of like a Ricky Thornton Jr. and his bringing up, his upcoming, you know. Some of y'all remember he went around the country just, you know, dominating modified events and stuff, and then got his opportunity in late models and has done very well with it. So I consider Jimmy Owens racing legend. I know that was kind of the era when you had Mike Marlar in the modifieds. You had Wayne Brooks, UFO down in the South, Larry Shaw. So very interesting to see this pairing. This is a match made in heaven, I think, for a lot of people. And, you know, it looks like Jimmy Owens and the whole crew there, they even put out a little trick video welcoming just Jimmy Owens racing updates on Facebook. Happy to welcome the newest team or newest member of the Kohler Motorsports team. You got this little, and it's really cool that they're 20. And I saw the post going around already. 2020 vision, of course, a 20 and a 20 RT. Look at that. That was 2020 vision. Bam, bam. Swiping the faces around here. But this could potentially be a big pairing. I mean, Jimmy Owens hasn't been the O show that we've seen. You know, we're used to Jimmy Owens dominating. He's still fast, but he hasn't been for a minute. Can this pairing, can maybe some notebooks get shared now that, you know, the rumors I don't believe are true, but if the rumors are true or they wouldn't share the notebook, oh, you don't think I was going to share the notebook with this guy? Oh, I'll share it with Jimmy Owens and we'll both go out there and whoop y'all's ass. But anyway, we'll see if that plays a factor into the team, but that is very, very cool that Jimmy Owens and Ricky Thornton Jr. have been joined together in this scenario. Also, tonight, you have Beaver Dam. Hot laps are going right now on the racetrack. I believe they just started at 6:30 Central. That's 7:30 Eastern at Beaver Dam. This is a 20K on a Wednesday. I know it's weird. We're used to talking sprint cars, but this late model news just took over the whole world. So this is interesting. We'll see how this goes. Obviously, this is a makeup day race. This weekend, they're going to be at Wilmot. Lots of cars on hand. This is the picture of the cars that are in the infield. 28 plus, so 28, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 32 total. Yeah, 32 it's got listed here of the cars in the pit area here tonight. Schedule of events. Some people were complaining that the legend car features before the World of Outlaws. Somebody said, wait, I think it's, somebody said it right here, or maybe they deleted it. They said, I don't pay $300 a year to watch legend cars. That's one thing we do is complain, but hey, once again, we're paying $300. We're so poor, but we're paying $300 to watch this product because the product's that good. Don't lose that confidence, dirt racing world, please. And then, of course, when we talk World of Outlaws sprint car racing, can't shut our mouth when it comes to the truth. Another fantasy design for Donnie Schatz hit the block today. Heater Design Studio, who did design cars, I believe, for Donnie Schatz Racing and his nieces. So, not sure why this guy, maybe he's just doing it for Donnie for fun. But another bad to the bone ass paint scheme for Donnie Schatz. Now, in defense, when I got back from Australia, I went to Attica, and I went up close to the Donnie Schatz blue number 15. He did have ghosted flames in the blue. There is ghosted flames in the blue. It is, unorthodox. It's a southpaw paint scheme for the sprint car world. There is a Ford blue car out there. The gold is a nice touch, but still, look at this. Look at how beautiful these designs are. Heater Design Studio. I keep giving shout outs. I can't not do it. He's been putting out some of the baddest ass sprint car designs there is, and they're not just a Blackbeard copycats. I think that's what the big deal is. We're used to Blackbeard copycats. I'm trying to get off here before they get in the time trials, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's coming up here very soon, and I'm just going to do this show. We're not going to be doing no call-ins right now. But we are going to make some picks. Of course, tonight, it is on the dirt draft, boy. It is on the dirt draft. We got the page here. If you don't know what dirt draft is, you go on there, you play some bets, or we should be placing bets already. You pick a team. You pick a team. Who you think the team is going to be the team to beat, the team to win. You got a certain amount of money. High-level drivers are slated as high-level. Of course, I always buy in for the 50 points. So you come down here, you got your list. So this is how it works. Let me show you. This is not paid advertising. I just thought this would be a cool thing to add in, picking a team, because I've always, done well when I pick teams. As you can see, 32 drivers here. So you got $100,000 that you could spend. You have to pick 5 drivers. So that averages out to $20,000 a pick. Now, obviously, you go in here and you're like, oh, we gotta, so for instance, you would be like, all right, yeah, well, David Gravel's awesome. Yeah, Sheldon, I'm a big fan. Kofoid's fast. James McFadden's awesome. But now, they grade him out. Why is that? Well, if you scroll over here, you see you only have $15,600 left. You have this badass lineup, of course, Team Roth in here. But you can't afford another driver, so you literally can't do this roster. You have to figure out a way to balance this out, because you see how McFadden costs $20,009, $21,000 for Kofoid, $21,100 for Sheldon, which Sheldon, I do believe, won the prelim night when I was there. Gravel's mixed in there as well. So we got to remove David Gravel. That's rule number 1 when you're picking. You never pick David Gravel in dirt draft. He's always costing way too much than he deserves. But I believe it was today or yesterday was Jason Johnson's birthday, and obviously Beaver Dam, rest in peace. This is where that tragic situation happened, and I don't want to get all fired up, because that's when I was doing work with racetracks and stuff, but then I started seeing people getting killed in our dirt world, getting zero recognition or respect by the world around us while they're racing and doing these amazing things. And I'm like, wait, this is messed up. This dirt sport has more meritocracy than any other racing sport out there. And for some reason, people view them as flag football players, and they're out here risking their damn lives driving cars that most of them people who get that national notoriety and respect can't even get in and make laps. Hold on, we're about to say something about this. I have enough self-worth to speak up, because it ain't about controlling your actions. It's about controlling that mouth. Communication is key, and they like to keep you unlocked. I'm just saying. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. The power of the spoken word, man. Power of the spoken word. The biggest leaders in world history didn't throw too many punches. They just said a bunch of stuff. And the rulers know that. The rulers know that. All this manipulation is about to keep you quiet, keep you docile, keep you dormant. I think they want us to depend on freaking Robin Hoods, technically, funny enough. That joke, or somebody said that today, or I forgot what video that was, but, we've been technically living on Robin Hoods in the racing world. We've been depending on sending guys from dirt racing to NASCAR to take money from the rich people and give it back to dirt. And then we say, oh, they love us because they give back. That's the Robin Hood trail. That's what these people have been doing. Tony Stewart's, Kyle Larson, the Casey Canes. These are Robin Hoods. They go up in their NASCAR, and that's our saving grace. That's what we love to see. But regardless, we're picking dirt draft picks. So with the symbolism of this being at Beaver Dam and Jason Johnson's birthday, either today or yesterday, I can't remember it. I'm sorry. I think you have to pick this 41 of Carson Macedo. You have to throw him onto the deal. So let's put Sheldon and Kofoid back on the board. You got to pick somebody down in the bottom, though. Got to pick someone in the lower ranges that you think's going to do something special. You got, Greg Wilson's there. Logan McCandless. I mean, he can do some stuff. Christopher Traum. There's the sleeper. There's actually 2 sleepers here. So when you find 2 sleepers, that means you could do 3 big hitters. And they don't really have him priced at a sleeper pick. But Danny Sams III down here, that's $600 cheaper. And then I'm telling you right now, I know there was some bad luck. And I know we see Garrett Williamson here, Scotty Thill's a pick. But Landon Brooks, boy, this is another California hitter. We're throwing him on the roster. So now that we got 2 19.5s in there, we can spend a little more money, but we can't. We're kind of screwed here. We're picking the good guys, and this could be a problem. Let's see here. Who else is going to go onto the roster? We got 2 spots left. We got Carson Macedo, Danny Sams, and Landon Brooks. See, this is might be where you second guess a Carson Macedo because average finish here matters a lot. You only get to pick 5 guys. This is very hard. Man, Scotty Thill in his hometown, you would think that would be a good pick. You would think that would be a good pick. You got to do it. IRA. Oh, you can't. You can't. See, it just graded out everybody. So we need another sleeper. Or we got to pick between Landon Brooks and Danny Sams. Is there another sleeper down here? We need to get somebody who's really low that might do something special. But they don't really have anybody really low. This is hard, guys. This is hard. A lot of people like to wait till qualifying to make these decisions, but sometimes that doesn't matter. Qualifying in sprint car racing obviously does, but sometimes it doesn't. Let's see here. Can we get to the magic number? Logan McCann, he popped off my screen. That's tough, guys. That's tough. They have these prices to where you're kind of, locked down. I don't know about the Macedo pick. That costs a lot because you got some good ones. I mean, look, how are you going to pick against Bill Baylog? Bill Baylog 28. That's a good price for Bill Baylog. And see, once you do that, now you open up yourself to a conservatively better pick to go onto the roster. And Kerry Matson's right there, man. Kerry Matson, and you got Logan Schuchart, who's been doing well. And that's it, Logan Schuchart, all right? If Carson Macedo wins, that's fine. I think that could potentially is going to be your winner. But that's our fast 5 on the Chaz. About that, the fast 5. Bill Baylog, Danny Sams III, Landon Brooks, Logan Schuchart, and Scotty Thill. We're saving the team, bro. There it is. Bam. There it is. A little mixture of the entire country here. 2 cheeseheads, a Floridian, a West Coast, flip-flopper, and a PA Mennonite. All on the roster. So there's what I'm picking. I'm not changing it. I don't care how qualifying goes. Those right there are my damn picks for the Dirt Draft lineup. The Fast 5. That's what we should call them. The Fast 5 right there, boy. I like that name. Of course, there is midgets going tonight, but it's midgets. And we better protect these other divisions, guys. Do not allow these other divisions to be midgets. What ruined midgets was rent-a-rides, money over talent, destroyed the series, destroyed the whole industry, turning, as a veteran of the sport told me at one time, when did my race car turn into a developmental race car? And that's a threat here in this sprint car thing and late model thing. It is a threat if you allow the ruling class, the upper echelons, the occult, way up there. If you allow them to manipulate your self-worth. Got to start speaking up more, guys. We need more people to beat the drum before the drum is stolen. Just saying. All right, that's all we really wanted to say here. Like I said, I'm not trying to take y'all away from some racing tonight. It looks like they're probably going to be going green. They might already had time trials. Hot laps were at 7:30, 6:30, so I don't know, but I do want to watch it myself. Let's go to the chat, see what y'all are all yelling and screaming about. Oh, nice. Not much. Everybody just tuned in and listened. That's how it should be. That is how it should be, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. It was fun. A lot of trueness in this, a lot of truth. But we do have to get out of here and get into this racing mode. Maybe see you post-race. We will see. Maybe so. Maybe no. I don't know. We will see. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We will catch you next time.